Apple is finally slipping in its home market, and it's Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7 that's pulling the rug out from under them. For the first time in years, Apple's US market share has dropped below 50%, while Samsung is climbing fast thanks to one very specific phone. Here's why this is a big deal. Apple has long dominated the US, often holding more than half the smartphone market. Even when Android phones were doing better globally, Apple's position in America stayed rock solid. But now, after the launch of Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7, the numbers are shifting. Samsung's US market share jumped to 31%, up from 23% this time last year. Meanwhile, Apple slid from 56% down to 49%. That's not just a small dip. That's a major drop for a company that's usually untouchable on its own turf. So what changed? The Fold 7 happened. Samsung has been making foldables for years, but they were always a bit too bulky, a bit too fragile, or simply not worth the price for most people. The Fold 6, for example, felt like a transitional device rather than a polished flagship. But this year, Samsung finally nailed it. The Fold 7 is not only sleek and powerful, it's also practical enough to convince people who were sitting on the fence about foldables to finally take the leap. And once people get a taste of a phone that can unfold into a mini tablet, Apple's regular flat slab starts to feel kind of boring. But Apple's decline isn't just about Samsung suddenly stepping up. There's another factor at play. Analysts point out that tariffs from the Trump administration may have made iPhones a little harder to sell, though that's still debatable. What's clearer is Apple's recent pricing strategy. The iPhone 16 was already under pressure in China, where Apple had to break character and introduce discounts just to keep customers interested. And now, the upcoming iPhone 17 Pro is reportedly getting a $50 price hike. So, while Samsung is offering something bold and new, Apple is making its most loyal customers pay more for a phone that looks and feels very familiar. The Fold 7's journey itself is interesting. Samsung had to learn the hard way with earlier models, even introducing a special Fold 6 SE in China to compete with local brands. That device eventually evolved, got upgraded with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, and emerged as the Fold 7, the first foldable that feels truly refined. The payoff? Consumers are flocking to it, proving that when Samsung actually delivers a great product, people are willing to jump brands. And that's a rare sight in the US, where iPhone loyalty is usually unshakable. And here's the thing, this isn't just about one sales quarter or one flashy device. This is about momentum. Every time Samsung convinces an iPhone user to switch, that's someone who might stay in the Galaxy ecosystem for years to come. Apps, accessories, even future foldables, they all lock users in the same way Apple's ecosystem does. That's why these market shifts matter so much. They're not just numbers on a chart. They represent real changes in consumer behavior that can snowball over time. So where does this leave Apple? Right now, the company is losing ground in both China and the US, its two most important markets. Discounts in China show Apple is willing to bend on price, but in the US, it's banking on customers sticking around no matter what. The problem is, tech isn't standing still. Foldables are no longer just a gimmick. They're becoming the new standard for innovation. And if Apple waits too long to bring out its own foldable iPhone, it risks looking like it's playing catch-up rather than leading the charge. Personally, I think this shift tells us something bigger than just one phone outselling another. It shows that people are hungry for something new. After years of incremental updates and price increases, a phone that actually changes the way you use it is bound to stand out. Samsung gave consumers that with the Fold 7, and the sales numbers prove it. The real question now is, can Apple bounce back with its first foldable iPhone? Or will Samsung keep building momentum and lock down a bigger share of the US market before Apple even gets started? If history is any guide, Apple's foldable will probably arrive polished and instantly popular. But until then, Samsung finally has the upper hand. And that's a story we haven't been able to tell in a long time. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.